a successful football career, Tim Lelito is doing even more off the football field. Today, we are going to get an insight on Tim Lelito's life and also his legacy foundation. Joining us today is Tim Lelito and Kelly Klemmer. So Tim, how's your experience playing track and football at St. Clair High School and how that turned into a scholarship to go to Grand Valley University?
It was great. I moved to St. Clair when I was in 10th grade, actually, from Fowlerville, right after my 9th grade year. And basically tried out for the junior football team, the JV team. I thought it, was going to be out there, and especially in 10th grade and everything. I was probably on there for, like I said, 5-10 minutes, and the varsity coach came over and said, "Oh no, you're coming with us." So, went, and it's kind of funny. A lot of people think that I just played offensive line. Well, I started out my St. Clair career actually playing linebacker. So, progressively went from linebacker to outside linebacker to D-line, and then eventually got switched over to offensive line. So even that was a process. People think that, oh, you played offensive line since you were in 8th grade. No, I didn't.
Right.
I played, both ways, both directions, mainly defense to start off with, and then they put me on the offensive line. But so always was a 3-sport athlete. So I actually did football, basketball, and track.
Okay.
And then in track is where I really excelled as well. It just came natural to me, I guess. Apparently my mom was really good, my dad was really good when they were in high school, especially at throwing the shot put. But actually I wasn't great at throwing the shot put. I was big and strong, but really didn't have the technique for it. What really came to me was the flow and the glide or the motion, if you will, of the discus. It's more of a dance, if you will, and that's what really excited me about it, and ended up being really good at it. So I think I still hold the record there at St. Clair for it.
He does.
So with playing sports in high school and college, were grades important to you?
At first, no, which is a terrible thing to say, but they really weren't. When I was growing up, I tell the story all the time. I was growing up on a 100-acre horse farm, and the horses were 100%. I mean, that's where our livelihood was. So they kind of took priority over everything else, which is terrible. And to this day, I struggle a little bit because I didn't create the habits necessary, back then, in those developing stages like I should have. So, but getting into the high school, and obviously you have to have the grades to be on the field. You got to be eligible, and I don't even know what it is right now in high school. Actually, I think it's a 1.8, but you should at least be a C student. You have to, especially if you are planning on going on to the next level and wanting to play in college and stuff like that. What a lot of people don't understand is that they will not even look at you if you're not even close to being a C student. College is much more difficult. It's much more advanced. How they see it is they know that it's a bigger step. So if you're not doing your work now while you're in high school, you're definitely not going to do it when you get to college. So, and then along with that too is a lot of people don't know there's a thing called the NCAA clearinghouse, and the clearinghouse is kind of the same way where, if you got all A's and B's, then you can be not as good in the SATs or ACTs as you want to be, or vice versa. So if you're getting, C's and B's in the classroom with your paperwork, you got to be doing really good on your SATs and ACTs to balance that out. So there's absolutely a minimum.
So did you have any mentors helping you along the way to lead to your success?
I did. Coach Nesbitt being probably the first one. Him teaching me to be accountable and to be a good role model for other kids and to have self-confidence in myself and moving forward. And then, all of my role models really are a lot of coaches in my life. So a lot of people that impacted me greatly were coaches. The next person that I came in contact with, Coach Barnett up at Grand Valley, is the same thing. Taught me great technique. Things that I took from the year and a half or 2 years that I had with him all throughout my career playing football from then on. So a lot of influential people were mainly coaches.
So moving more into your football career, based on how you played in your college at Grand Valley, did you think you would ever make it to the NFL?
At the beginning, it was still more of a dream. It was kind of, still out there. I had friends that I played alongside with that had gone on and played in the NFL, and they had kind of came back to me like a couple of years down the road when I was a junior and senior, and they're like, hey, a couple of these offensive line coaches are talking about you, and Nick McDonald and Cam Bradfield and those guys, and helped me out. And they said, hey, you're great at center now, but start snapping the football, and the more that you can do, and it's applicable to life. The more that you can do in life, the more valuable you are. So that's kind of what helped me along the way.
All right. So being in the NFL is such a great success. Are there any memories that just stick out?
Yeah, the memory that sticks out the most to me was probably my first start running out onto the football field. We were in New Orleans against the Cardinals. I knew that I was starting the whole week just because the starter, Jari Evans, had gone down the previous week with an injury. So I knew going in that Sunday night, Monday morning, that I was the starter for the week. So it was great. Had my grandparents down there, and that's right when at the tail end of right when my grandma was really sick. So she got to experience my first NFL football game standing on the field starting, and just the emotions in the tunnel before you run out. And it was one of the games actually. So how it works in the NFL is, because you flip flop every week. So one week you'll be home, the next week you'll be away, then the following week you'll be home. So it just happened to be, and then every time that you're home, the starters get flip-flopped too. So one week when you're home, it'll be defensive starters get called out, and then the next time you're home, the offensive starters will be called out. So it just happened to be that it was the offensive starters that got called out as well. And to hear your name being projected in front of 110,000 people is crazy. It still gives me goosebumps, and running out onto the field through the smoke and everything like that. So it was absolutely amazing feeling.
Yeah. Did you face any adversities in your career?
Oh yeah, a lot of injuries, lots of injuries. I think, all the way back through college, back, ankle, I hurt my back the first year there. I was there actually I was actually lifting for the track program. So I hurt my back and then broke my ankle like 7 months later after that, right, like 2 weeks before the start of the football season. Came back through that, got, rod and pins and all that fun stuff. The following year after that, ACL, things like that. So just, it was always something. It was, nicks and bruises or whatever. But, and then too, like I said before, not having those great habits, not having time management skills and things like that going in, it was very hard for me the first year in college to where, okay, instead of having someone to tell you, like, okay, this is when you get up, this is when you go to class, this is when you can eat, this is, you're figuring all that stuff out on your own. And if you don't have those good skills going into it, you're not going to be as productive as you need to be. So that's another thing that kind of hindered me too, as I got put on academic probation my first year, and I fought and came through that and never was on that again. And I ended up being like a 2.5 student at Grand Valley. So that was a big accomplishment for me, especially being the first one in my family going to college, a 4-year college.
All right, so how did it feel to come back and play for your home state for your last season?
It was awesome. I kind of knew going through all the injuries and everything like that, and the body kind of deteriorating and just mentally taxing, physically obviously taxing. So being able to come back here and put on the Lions jersey and, in front of everyone, and actually go out there for the Sunday night Pittsburgh game and be in front of the hometown, and all the friends were there and family was there, and it was a great feeling. Unfortunately, that was the game that I got hurt, and the one and only time that I stepped on the field for the Lions at home. Now I went to the Saints. Actually was the first game that I actually dressed for them, so it was bittersweet, if you will. I went down there and played and got in, and like right before the first half, and then came back here and in Pittsburgh, against Pittsburgh, and played the whole game against them. So, but it was a great feeling. I wish it would have lasted a little bit longer.
So that you have faced injuries, how do you feel about concussion protocol?
Well, I think there's a lot of factors that go into concussions. I think kids, first of all, are getting bigger, faster, stronger. I think, too, that kids are playing sports longer, and you talk about things like AAU soccer and things like that. Well, a lot of people don't realize that soccer, especially women's soccer, is up there for concussions. I think it's top 5 or top 3 or something like that. Well, when you have all this opportunity for injuries, especially when people are starting to play in February or March and they don't stop until December, that's a lot of time. And they say 63% of injuries happen in practice. So not only are you practicing all that time, but you're playing games all the time as well. So I think that has something to do with it. The one thing that we're trying to start up and to at least get the discussion going about is the baseline testing for kids, so that they can actually see where they're at to begin with at the beginning of the season, and then if they've progressed or if they've have gone down in their mental capacity at all. So that's one thing that I think a lot of people would benefit from.
All right, so let's talk about the foundation. What was your motive to start the foundation?
Motive for the foundation was right at the end of my high school career, we started implementing pay-to-play in Michigan. So for those of you who don't know, pay-to-play is basically, say you go out for a sport, usually it's dictated by school district, wherever they want to charge. Usually it's anywhere from $75 to $150, and that's per sport. So if you wanted to go out for soccer, for instance, you'd probably, like I said, pay anywhere from $75 to $150.
Right.
Well, for me growing up, I know that wouldn't have been possible. So for me, growing up in Fowlerville, growing up on the horse farm, if we were to have to pay to go play sports, that wouldn't happen. I wouldn't have played sports. So obviously, if I didn't play sports, I wouldn't be in the position that I am now. I know that I wouldn't have graduated high school without sports. Obviously wouldn't have gone on to Grand Valley and get a 4-year degree and play in the NFL. So that was the kind of the first thing that I wanted to do, and the first thing and the quickest way that we can help kids is actually give them the opportunity to play sports, the kids that don't have the opportunity to.
So with your past experiences, how does it feel to know that you're helping kids who aren't as financially blessed in the area?
I think it's awesome. I always said I never wanted, people to say, oh, that's one of Tim's kids or anything like that, or to be looked down upon that, that you need help. A lot of times people need help, and it's okay to ask for help too. But to stand up and beat my chest and, I'm helping these kids, and that's not why I'm doing it. I'm helping kids so that they can better their lives, because that's what happened to me. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't have graduated high school. So if I can help someone graduate high school and better their lives, then I know that I did my job.
Yeah, I think it's not really about, creating the next NFL star or anything by helping these kids. It's really just showing them that a community believes in them, and that that we want them to continue on and have something that they're passionate about and do well. And if they see that the community does that, then maybe others can go on, and whatever degree they get, in college level, maybe they'll come back to the community just like Tim and myself did to help our community overall. So it's kind of, we help them, they're going to eventually come back and help all of us again.
Strengthen numbers.
So where are you guys getting the funds to support the kids in the community?
We do a lot of local fundraising, things like that. A lot of local sponsorships, local businesses. We absolutely couldn't do it without those people. They do a great job. The local St. Clair Community Foundation helps us out a ton. Jackie up there, she does such a great job for us. So yeah, it's a lot of local fundraising. So, and that's what we wanted to kind of be about, local people helping local kids. So that, like Kelly said, that they know that people in the area care about them and want them to do good and want them to succeed.
So putting on events, every foundation needs a team. How does your team support the foundation?
Well, everyone has a role, everyone has a job to do, and people, they do those jobs, and it goes very smoothly.
Yeah, and it grows.
Yes.
So we're kind of a small team because we're, still a small foundation at this point. It's only going into its third year next year. So, we come from a small team, but with this amazing community and those local, that hometown feel, everybody pulls their own weight and it all comes together. So, we depend a lot on those sponsors and those small businesses, no matter how big or small those donations or funds come in for those things. Like, there's always like a common goal that we all come together for, and that's for the kids and the athletes and, our area. So it's really nice to have the small team get out there and talk to all these people and play their part in connecting and connect us all for that common goal for whatever event it might be. We have 2 pretty big signature events throughout the year. Our first one last year was an adult field day, so that one was pretty fun to get the adults out there behaving like kids again and raising money for the kids. And then we have we're calling it a legacy night this year, kind of changing things up. That is more of like a higher end, classier event, but it really represents the legacy of Tim and where, how sports is the longevity for these kids that, like Tim said, like he wouldn't have gone on if he didn't have that drive that he learned and the habits he learned from the sports.
So if some of our viewers, if they wanted to learn more about the foundation, where would they go to learn more?
We do have a website. It's lelitoslegacyfoundation.org. It's a long one. And then we also have a Facebook and Instagram page under Lelito's Legacy Foundation. So we try to update stuff there quite a bit about being in the schools and what the athletes are doing or what the needs are or the events are. So it's always moving, always something going on.
We love the Facebook platform because it's more engaging. As soon as we put something out there,
Just
thousands,
spreads,
exactly, thousands of people can either like or share it, and kind of everyone sees it that way. So,
All right, so we're wrapping up. Do you guys have any last thoughts on the foundation?
Just that, we appreciate our donors, our sponsors, all the kids that come out for our camp every year. And, there's not only our foundation, but there's other great organizations out in the county. And with the holidays coming up, Giving Tuesday, it's a big day following Thanksgiving, Cyber Monday, and then Giving Tuesday is the next day. So save some pennies and give back to those organizations in our county that really support all of us. So that would be it.
Thank you for everything you guys have done for the community. We appreciate you taking time to share what the foundation has accomplished and look forward to hearing more about the events. Please join us next time on another Student Connection on M6, your hometown station.